Before I forget, I'd like to thank my friend Angela for making the nice new intro graphic thingy. So yeah, it's much cleaner. Thank you very much. So enjoy the slightly new intro. I believe I'm pronouncing this correctly. Feng Shui is directed by Chito Ronyo. It's co-written by him and Roy Iglesias and stars Chris Aquino, Jay Manalo, Lotot De Leon, and Ilona Jean. In Feng Shui, Joy, played by Chris Aquino, is this woman who finds this Chinese ornament thing on a bus called a bagua. And what it is it's basically like this octagon wooden frame with this small circular mirror in the middle. And this begins to bring her lots of really good luck, but at the same time, while it gives her luck, it starts killing off everybody else who looks into the mirror. And I know this movie was like a huge success when it came out like 9 years ago, but I personally just don't really like it that much. I'm sorry, I think it's kind of boring. I think it's really confusing. It's not scary at all, although I do think that Chito Ronyo can never direct a bad movie, so there's always him to kind of make up for it. First of all, like I said, this movie is boring. It's just really, really boring. There's way too much time spent on just trying to flesh out characters and explain lore in like really uninteresting ways because these characters, even as much as this movie tries to flesh them out, it doesn't really feel like they go through any arc or whatever, or they change or develop in any way. And the lore, when they explain it, is just so it's just so heavy-handed. As a result, the pace is just severely dragged down, where at points it doesn't really feel like you're watching a horror movie anymore. You're just watching a bunch of you know a badly written family drama. And one big problem this movie has is that it has no build up to anything whatsoever. This movie literally just begins almost in medias res because it starts with Chris Aquino's character just kind of finding the bagua and suddenly, oh, we're in the movie. Like there was no build up to her character, and because of that, we can't really kind of grasp onto her as a protagonist. The other scenes feel like barely connected to one another. You don't really kind of get a sense of progression or like mounting tension. And I was honestly checking the time within the first 15 minutes of this movie. I thought 30 minutes had gone by. It was just 15. It was crazy because it's just not scary, this whole thing, because it doesn't feel like there's any danger to anything. The lore is extremely confusing, like I said, and it doesn't actually have anything to do with the actual like practice of feng shui, which is just kind of like ordering stuff in your house to really like harmonize things and kind of bring about good luck or whatever. But this movie has nothing to do with that. It's really just this bagua thing. So much of the dialogue in this movie is just this bland exposition that really tries to establish these vaguely defined rules of how the curse of this bagua works. Like, if I have to kind of try and recall how it works, it's like Chris Aquino's character will get some sort of good luck, but that means someone has to die, and that the way that person dies is somehow related to that person's zodiac sign. And for some reason, all the characters here know everyone's zodiac sign. But then people die anyway in the movie, even if she doesn't get any like good luck. So this movie doesn't even follow really its own internal logic. And how do you even define luck? Like, luck can be something as small as a car passes by and you don't get bumped by it, or like I don't know, like it's just so hard to understand. And because this movie starts out talking about how the deaths of people are brought about by their zodiac signs, it's really distracting because you start looking out for anything that could have like an animal on it. The plot feels really aimless because the characters aren't well drawn at all. I really wish they made Joy like much more imperfect, because here she's just like the loving mother and the victim of sorts. But like it would have been interesting if we made Joy like have like this sort of affinity for superstitions, and her wanting good luck and her not wanting to give up the bagua because she was getting so much luck, but they don't explore any of that. And her husband, Inton, is the opposite. They just treat him like a jerk the entire time. Like there's nothing redeeming about him. It would have been nicer to really have conflict with these characters that's believable, so we could really kind of care about the relationship, and this could actually become something like a character study. Now, I will admit, as much as I don't like Chris Aquino in real life as a human being, I think she's a decent actress, but she has this knack for making every line sounds like it belongs in a commercial. It's just so overstated all the time. She's not subtle at all, and she really doesn't do anything to make Joy a very memorable character. And the same can be said about Jay Manalo, where he just seems to be on autopilot the entire time. He really doesn't do anything to really show this character's jerkiness. Even like he's just so, the way his character is written is just so one note, but he can't even really bring that across. Surprisingly, the supporting cast is actually all right, especially Noni Ben Camino, who has this small role like near the end of the movie, and in it, I think. But they severely underused Cherry by Pikachu also. I will say though that on the positive side, Feng Shui is a pretty good looking movie. I mean, the production design is decent. You really kind of believe that these people live in this house. The cinematography is frequently kind of haunting because sometimes it uses like really bright like greens and blues and whatnot and gives it like this trippy feel. And there's a lot of makeup effects that I think are quite good because they're not overdone. They're still kind of believable. The sound is good also, although it's mishandled because there's just way too many of those cheap, stupid, not scary jump scares. Cheetah Ronnie really is the reason why this movie is kind of bearable to watch. Like his directing style is very kind of floaty. Like he floats the camera around everywhere, and it really gives it this sort of, yeah, I guess supernatural feel or whatever. But also he's able to find space in these places where you wouldn't really feel like you'd find space. I feel like other directors would kind of just film it very statically, but the way Chitarone directs it is very kind of, it moves a lot. And there are a couple of scenes here involving real danger, like domestic violence, that are actually much more tense than the supernatural stuff, which he obviously doesn't really know how to handle as well. So in the end, I'd say that Feng Shui is it's meh. It's like a mediocre movie. I feel like it had a lot of potential in it, but they just kind of squandered that potential. What did you think though of Feng Shui back in 2004? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.